What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Make sure to like and sub, and let's get into this. So, Madam Web has failed utterly and completely, surprising no one except its main stars. And it's already available for pre-owned digital release, which is coming out any day now. Madam Web's star, of course, Dakota Johnson, has now commented on it, and I feel bad for her. I do, because I know a lot of people going, well, she should have known better. Well, by all accounts, her and Sydney Sweeney and everyone else thought they were joining the MCU proper. And at the very least, when it was revealed that it was going to be the Sony version, they thought it was going to be in the actual Sony verse, at least slightly related to where a Spider-Man once was, the Morbin time, the Craven coming up, the Venom. No. Then, of course, we found out they were in their entirely own world, barely even really. Yeah, there was maybe a Ben Parker that was a paramedic, but no, Peter Parker was born. Peter was born, but they didn't even say which one it was. So, of course, they're upset. But here we go. Madam Web was released on Valentine's Day to overwhelming negative reviews. And as we write this, it ranks among the worst superhero movies ever made, according to its 12% Rotten Tomatoes score. Its box office takings haven't been any better. And despite Kraven the Hunter, which somehow they're still going to do that movie, Kraven the Hunter. Don't ask me how that, with the guy that plays, he was in Kick-Ass, Ryan Taylor Johnson. He was in Kick-Ass, and he was a couple other things. And he's also Quicksilver. Kraven the Venom 3 being on the horizon. It's hard to imagine Madam Web's failings, not pushing Sony to go back to the drawing board. Nope, remember, they double down. They never admit defeat. They always double down. Bustle recently caught up with lead star Dakota Johnson and asked, in the past few weeks have been weird for her.
Yeah. Weird.
Always. Yeah, I had the LA premieres for Madam Web and then went to Mexico City. I had pneumonia and was on steroids. Nice. And the nebulizer and doing all these little things. And I was really, really sick and felt horrible. I looked horrible. The actor says, I was like, ugh. And then the movie came out and it was like, I can't take any of it seriously at all. I don't know. The site wondered whether it bothers her to see people write what they described as nasty reviews, to which she replied, unfortunately, I'm not surprised that this has gone down the way it has. Yeah. If you go back and you watch her press tour, she knew this was going to be a shit show from the beginning. She talks about how much it was reshot. She talks about how different it was. And of course, you go back and you look at those early Instagram post announcements from them. They all tagged the MCU. So this is not the movie that they thought they were signing up for. Johnson proceeded to suggest that the version of Madam Web we saw in theaters wasn't the movie she signed up for. Yeah, and this is probably why she left her talent agency a couple days after the trailer came out, and appeared to blame the studio for making decisions which alienated moviegoers. Where's that sound familiar? In fact, she addressed the movie's failings head on and confirmed that this is likely it for her and superhero projects, as I don't make sense in that world. See, and the problem with that is you would. You're an attractive woman. You can act. She can act. It's there's maybe a little bit of nepotism there because she's John Johnson's daughter, but she can act. Just like YouTube, shout outs only help you so much. And having a parent who's a famous Hollywood, that's just a sophisticated form of a shout out. But if you're a shitty actor, you're still not going to last very long. So she has the good. She could have been good, but not in this fake ass comic book movie that was done just for executives, just because they wanted something in the Spider-Man universe without having to pay Toby or Andrew or make a new Spider-Man story. Here she says, it's so hard to get movies made, and in these big movies that get made, and it's even starting to happen with the little ones, which is what's really freaking me out. Decisions are being made by committees, and art does not bode well when it's made by committee. Yeah, and I guess you can guess who those committees are. We've talked about them extensively and what they're pushing. Films are made by a filmmaker and a team of artists around them. They sure used to be. They sure used to be. We see things like Dune 2. That was certainly made by a filmmaker and a team of artists. But most of these movies, they're not. They are made by committee, and they're made by that writer's room, and we know where they get their writers from. You cannot make art based on numbers and algorithms. That's right. My feelings have been for a long time that audiences are extremely smart, yes, and executives have started to believe that they're not. You are making me like Dakota Johnson. Audiences will, even more than I did, audiences will always be able to sniff out bullshit. Even if films start to be made with AI, humans aren't going to fucking want to see those. Some of us will. But it was definitely an experience for me to make that movie. I had never done anything like it before. I will probably never do anything like it again because I don't make sense in that world, and I know that now. But sometimes in this industry, you sign on to something and it's one thing, and then you're making it, it becomes a completely different thing. And you're like, wait, what? But it was a real learning experience. And of course, it's not nice to be part of something that's ripped to shreds, but I can't say that I don't understand. I mean, that's a win for her as far as I'm concerned. She signed up for something completely different. They fucking ruined it through no fault of her own, and she's saying as much. Yeah, and there we go. We've heard rumblings that Madame Web was once tied directly to Spider-Man, and it was at one point Andrew Garfield, and then they changed it. They filmed a bunch of new scenes, and then they changed that yet again to not just reflect the Andrew Garfield, and then they changed it to reflect Tom Holland, and then they changed it to make it to Spider-Man's a baby, and they don't even say his name. So just completely removed everything. But having watched the movie, it's hard to believe there's a version out there which is that different. No, I believe there is. There's one with a bunch of extra different scenes. Morbius, on the other hand, showed blatant signs of reshoots. They all have. Yeah. And what we do know is Madame Web underwent many last-minute changes, with Claire Parker and S.J. Clarkson rewriting Matt Sosman's and Burke Sharpless's script. And then Lorenzo di Bonaventura randomly coming on board to produce in place of divisive Sony Marvel exec Avi Arad, which probably would have made it better because all the shit is talked about Avi. He's been in the business for over 20 years and he has had some bangers. Perhaps Johnson was sold on a very different movie. They all were. Either way, she seems to be on board with the criticisms, and Madame Web is now, yeah, go to the theaters to watch Madame Web or just wait for the digital release. I feel bad for Dakota. I do, but gotta tell you, those comments about the audience being smart and sniffing out bullshit and that this was not what she signed on for, good for her. I hope she gets a little redemption arc. I mean, more than her own comments have just given her. Let me know what you think of this in the comments. Did you actually watch this movie besides Nerd Wars or listening to his review, which was just recounting the entire movie? So if you did see it, let me know. Was it as bad as they're saying? And if not, I'll probably watch this and I'll probably watch it in streaming just to see. But yeah, let me know in the comments. Like, share, sub. If you've done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you. And well,
bye.